Hey everyone, welcome to this student success interview. I'm Garth Laidlaw with Portprep, and I help art students complete their portfolios to get into their top art schools across the globe. Portprep can help you create the absolute best art portfolio that you can possibly make and have the best chance of getting into your favorite art schools. We have courses on figure drawing, character design, perspective, animation, storyboarding. We even have courses that deal specifically with Sheridan College's animation portfolio, which is notoriously difficult to get into and which is what I graduated from. One of the primary problems that we've noticed with students not getting into their top art colleges is the accountability to produce work on a consistent basis. And this is exactly what we've created these courses for. When you sign up for one of Portprep's courses, we draw directly on top of our students' work to make corrections and also record all of our online meetups and video lectures to send to the students so that you can have it forever. Portprep is incredibly proud of our success rate with getting students into their top art colleges and universities, and so please have a look at our testimonials page. We also offer one-on-one art mentorships as well that are much more customized to your specific artistic goals. Without further ado, let's listen to this student interview.
Hi, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How's it going?
Yeah, oh, I forgot to tell you, I also passed the Goblins portfolio round.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy. Congrats. I have never had a student that has got into Goblins, as far as I know, at least.
Yeah, but they still have to do the interview round, and I'm still thinking if I really wanted to do it just like for because I want to know what they think about my work, right? So I'm still but I'm a bit too lazy to prepare.
That's amazing though. Wow, you got into just everything, just as I expected. Well, congrats, Pincha. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, that's great news anyways, even just to be, have that recognition and acknowledgement from Goblin that you got in. That's an incredible thing. Holy, well, that's great news. But I mean, congrats on everything. You got into both Sheridan animation and illustration too. So and Goblin animation. So you have your pick of what you'd like to go into. I rarely get to say that. Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
I was really happy.
Oh, I bet. Let's have a look at your portfolio. So this is your animation mark. Wow, what's going on here? So let's see. I'm so curious where you lost marks. Well, you didn't lose many marks. So, wow, for life drawing, that's shocking. And hand drawing.
Yeah, I saw like almost everyone got like an 8 for figure drawing for some reason.
Wow. Yeah, I just don't know what. This has been the strangest marking year I've ever seen for Sheridan, that's for sure. I just have no idea. I mean, it's obvious that they're being harder, but only with certain things.
I think strange.
So. Well, still, I mean, no matter which way you cut it, 94 is a fantastic mark. Most of these are perfect. So, wow, really great. So yeah, let's have a look. Okay, so here's your figure drawing. Oh yeah, I remember these.
Yeah.
Great. Wow. Wow, great. You have one that's rendered a little more. Your hand drawing, which was 9 out of 10, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's still a pretty good score. It was so weird because I got like both 10s for last year, and I got 8 and 9, and I was like, okay.
Everyone seemed to get lower marks this year. That's what, almost across the board. Although you got a higher overall mark, but still, that's okay. Here's some personal work, some more personal. See, I remember seeing this piece way back when, and I was just like, wow, this is fantastic. Like your personal mark score, and yet they've still managed to take a mark off your personal work. I'm just, really flabbergasted at that. I have no idea. This too, a different style, but It was so fun and such a lovely little sketch of this character in his car. Um, I have no idea what they could have taken a mark off for. Okay, so we're a little out of
Yeah, I
order.
can't really tell either because like
Yeah,
I can't feel the difference between the 14 and the 15. So I was just like, whatever, I guess.
yeah. I don't know if they know what the difference is between a 14 and a 15, honestly. Um, yeah, this is great. I remember seeing this a while back. I like the little story element of this with the bear.
Yeah, I actually like tried really hard for my perspectives to have like at least like kind of a story because I want it to
Yeah,
be like fun
yeah,
in a
and it
way.
absolutely is. Yeah, and this little scene too. So great.
Yeah.
Nice.
I did fix it up later though for like I thought it was too detailed, so I like simplified some
Oh,
stuff in
really?
the background.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. And this storyboard. I remember there was many rounds on the storyboard, even just switching the
Oh
camera back
yeah.
and forth and stuff and making sure it was relatively consistent.
Yeah, and I emailed you like the last 2 days to like
Yeah.
about me fixing a whole panel.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, I love how clean it is, and you're so on model with the characters, so that was really great. Very, very accurate to what the fox's design is like. Oh, and your character design, which I am so happy you got perfect on this character design. I was just racking my brain trying to figure out any little inconsistency or anything in this character, and I just couldn't do it. We had so many go rounds, and I was like, this is an incredibly consistent character.
Yeah.
So really happy that that paid off. And I think we missed your animation, so let's just have a quick look at that too. Oh, it's over here.
Oh.
Great. Yeah. Nice. Hey, you got perfect on your animation, right? It looked
Yeah, I was
wow.
so happy
Great.
because last year, like my character rotation and my animation was what made me fail, and then I got a
Okay.
full because I tried so hard, and I was like, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Fantastic.
At least I got a full on like these two.
Yeah.
It was a win. Yeah.
That's great. Wow. Well, I'm not sure if you've had a look at the questions that I sent you yet, but I had a few little questions that I'd love to pass your way to see what you think. So, what are your top 3 to 5 tips? And these tips could be applied to individual works or the overall kind of methodology towards making a portfolio.
Oh yeah. The first tip for me, which I think I didn't like successfully do it, but I think like when you start the portfolio, right? If you're doing many portfolio or just like one, I think you should start on the personal artwork first because that
Okay.
takes so much time
Wow.
as much as like you want. Because I did
Yeah.
try to do that, and you slowly do it because by the time it was November, you can have time to do the one that you just like know the requirements just then, so you can finish it easier without like
Yeah.
cramming too much, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because the personal work probably weighs pretty heavily on them, I would imagine, because that's where they really get to see who you are and what you're interested in, right? So, I mean,
Yeah.
that's a great idea, starting personal work first, doing that section, because
Yeah.
you don't want it to be kind of the leftovers of whatever artwork you have, kind of at after you're done the main part of the portfolio. So that's a great tip.
Yeah. And on like the second tip I would have, like it's like kind of like in a way related to the first tip.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you want to start early, that's good, but sometimes like me myself, when I start like really early and by the time like December comes in, I look at like the work I did and I'm like not satisfied because it's like I think maybe like I can draw better now, I can do that better. So I don't recommend, but if you really want to, I did in a lot of stuff, I just like redrew the things I did to look better, like one more time if you have time. For like reassurance. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. So make sure there's time to kind of, if you need to, kind of do just a once over on it, just to make sure that it's really, really tight and looks exactly the way you wanted it to. Well, I'm missing some personal work here, actually. We haven't seen your, I remember your comic. Oh, it's a
Oh,
PDF.
that's
That's fine.
insane.
Oh yeah, here we go. And some more tips?
Oh yeah, I'll just give three because I can't think that much. But the
Sure.
final one would be I think I did have an issue at the start because we had classes that were weekly, which were good because they
Mhm.
made me work like with a schedule.
Yeah.
But sometimes when I did have an issue, like I like maybe the storyboard, I did spend a lot of time on it, but in the like initial like design process, I did the thumbnails in like a day, which wasn't probably the best
Yeah.
because as like I could fix it later, I think you should like take more time in like designing or like the thoughts and the stuff,
Yeah.
but like you gotta space it out. I think if you spend more time on the thoughts and like the planning, it's more worth it than just like rush the planning, but take like insane amounts of time to like fix the
Detail it.
little details in the
Yeah.
drawing. Yeah.
That's interesting that you say that because that's a very common one that I hear in the professional freelance art world as well. Spend so much time in the planning phase because sketches are cheap. That's a common thing
Yeah.
that I hear in concept art and illustration and stuff. Like sketches are cheap, so do lots of sketches. You don't want to be having to change major things in the final because that's a lot more, that takes a lot more time to do that. So
Yeah.
that's a really great tip. Great. And so, top three things you might have done differently if you could start the whole process over again.
Um, Actually, I would. The first thing is, I actually have an issue with being lazy a bit. Though, like when the time
Wow.
actually comes, I do like catch up and actually do work. But I think my issue, like the really bad stuff, I think was the worst for me because early like September, October, like the end of 2021,
Hmm.
I did do work, but like it wasn't as like the maximum capacity I thought I know I could do.
Hmm.
So it was like I did work, but I didn't really do work. So
Hmm.
like by the time like December and like January and February rolled around, I just like did so many stuff and like crammed so hard. I think it was
Yeah.
like really bad for me because
Oh,
like by
yeah.
the time it was like the end of February, I was like I didn't go out of the house for the whole of like January and February, and that's bad. I
Oh,
didn't like
wow.
that. Yeah, but I was committed and that was good, but it
Yeah.
wasn't good at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it was good for doing your room drawing and illustration from outside the
Oh
window.
yeah. I got a
We'll
10
look
for
at
that.
that.
I was so proud.
Oh, great. Yeah, we'll have a look at your illustration portfolio soon too.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Any other tips or things that you would have done differently?
Two more things. It wouldn't be much because I do admit I don't, because I had a whole year to be free. I'll just put one thing I like from last year that I thought it was like do um question yourself a lot. Just question yourself quite a bit would be good
Yeah.
because when you don't question yourself about the work enough, you do just because you think it's like it's good. I like it a lot
Hmm.
and you're like proud of it, but like it doesn't work out and you come and look at back at it later and you're like, yeah, maybe I should have like thought more and asked around a bit more.
Hmm.
So I was like, yeah, I think that's like a big thing. You
Yeah.
should be cautious about this stuff. Not wrong to like your ideas though.
Yeah.
Just make sure
Yeah. Just
that you're
constantly
gonna commit.
questioning and yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And the last thing, just I did wish I did more traditional stuff in my portfolio.
Yeah.
It's not a big thing, it's just I think it would be nice if I actually did like 50-50. with digital and traditional
Yeah.
because it gives a bit nicer feel to a portfolio. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Because
remember seeing your
yeah,
painting. Where was it? Right here. And I was like, whoa, this is what? This is gouache, right? I think.
yeah, it's gouache.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, it's so rare to see like a traditional gouache painting these days. That feels like
Yeah,
sort of like a scene from a little animated movie or something. I was just so taken aback. It was so neat to see actual paint. So it's like, that's really great. But yeah, I see what
yeah,
you mean. Like
because
most people do mostly traditional or digital work rather.
I really realized because I found out too, it's like a bit of a tangent, but in the Goblins portfolio, the the requirement is actually like you gotta have more traditional stuff than
Okay.
digital stuff. From like
Yeah.
principle, like by principle, Sheridan doesn't really care, but I think it's still good because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I think it's better to like learn in traditional and then be able to do digital. It's like it's more of a more solid basic, yeah,
Yeah.
I
Sure.
think.
That's great. And was there anything in particular that you did that gave you a slight edge, do you think, in your overall portfolio?
I wouldn't say I had like a slight edge, but like in my own opinion, the thing I like think I did best in most of the stuff, I was really happy this year that I really tried to put more of my personality into like the stuff I did, like the small stuff,
Hmm.
maybe the sketchbook or like the character rotation or just
Yeah.
the perspective and stuff. I just really wanted to feel like I know a lot of people because in the first year I did too. I was like kind of pressured to because I thought maybe this is just me that Sheridan like they had a style like a specific style they wanted. It was kind of like cartoony western in a way that
Yeah.
I didn't grow up with, and I was
Yeah.
like so obsessed with that. By the time I finished my first portfolio, I felt like it didn't felt like it had a concrete personality because
Hmm.
I was always like going, oh, this is nice, that is nice. And then this piece I did it that way, and then this piece I did it that way. And it was a bit messy style wise. And I don't
Okay.
think that's really good for a solid portfolio.
Yeah.
Because it's, yeah, I
So more
think.
cohesive story or like showing your personality.
Yeah,
That's a good one. Yeah.
it doesn't have to be like all connected, but you gotta feel like, yeah, the same person made this for
Yeah.
each piece, I
Yeah.
think.
Somewhat, some kind of cohesion. Nice.
Yeah.
And if you were a student applying next year, what would be the first thing you would do to begin the process of creating this big undertaking that is the portfolio?
Oh, yeah. You actually told me to do, it's kind of the same thing. I remember you told me to do a personal artwork list, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, but before like all that in September, I actually sat down. I got a A4 piece of paper and I just slowly listed like I had categories, cate- I don't know how to say this word. Okay. I had sections for like each of the portfolios. So like maybe I was doing 3 portfolios. So I had 3 papers, and then
Hmm.
each of the one I maybe like in the illustration or the animation I had like character rotation, personal art, like everything. And then I just added in like pieces I would like to do. Like
Hmm.
doesn't have to follow anything, but give it a framework of what you want to do
Yeah.
in like for everything like for perspective you just list in like oh I want to make this kind of room that kind of scene like something
Yeah.
like that.
Hmm.
I think it was really good for like me to slowly try it out and then cut things out that I thought it would work at first and it didn't work out,
Yeah.
and when you finish a thing you just cross it all out and it's easier for you to keep track.
Yeah.
And I've seen people say this but I would disagree, but maybe that's just me, that some people it's I think when you do work you should do it like piece by piece, and sometimes maybe like take a rest and do a different piece, but don't do too many pieces at a time because
Okay.
it kind of stresses you out. Like go
Yeah.
slow but sure, start early,
Okay.
do like this piece then this piece then this piece,
Sure. So
and think
you,
about yeah, think about like how much time, which piece, like life drawing and stuff, you can
Yeah.
draw continuously, but like
Mhm.
do it at the end and choose it
Yeah.
at the end. Yeah.
Okay, so you would say most people would encourage people to do a whole bunch at once to versus kind of concentrating on one by one by one. Is that what most people say, or what do you think?
I did have a teacher before, but I think maybe that's just how she handled work.
Hmm.
But she said, the way she did her portfolio, she would count it by the time she spent on each piece in a way that like this week she would spend 20 minutes on this and then 20 minutes on this and this, but like continuously doing everything at the same time at a slow pace.
Yeah.
Like it's fine, but it's not concentrated enough to feel like relief and like step by step, I think.
Yeah, you're right. Because you get when you finish one, you kind of get you get a bit of like almost like a second wind, right? To continue, you get more energy to like start the next one because you're like, okay, I crossed one off the list. It feels really good to cross things off your list. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so you don't get bored on like a piece. Because I did have a time I got really bored of my comic and I had to power through it, and it was so horrible. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, your comic, I don't know, for everyone that saw that, you know, there's so many pages there. I could not believe how much of the comic you were able to do, Pincha. And also, I wanted to show your illustration portfolio because you got into illustration too.
Yeah, sure.
This is so great. I'm honestly, like, I looked at the score sheet and observational. So this is the object drawing, right? With the observational. Or is this is actually kind of confusing.
Okay, so in the first part is the drawing test.
Okay.
And the first one is, I think, is people. The second one is the room. The third one is the window, and the last one is the objects. And then after that is the personal portfolio.
Yeah.
But I have like a different folder for it in my thing.
I see.
It's like under DT drawing test. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was shocked that you lost any marks on your still life. Like, look at this drawing. And for those that, you know, you can zoom right in here and you can see the little pencil marks. This is like, even like portfolio aside, this is just an incredible artwork in general. I remember Pincha, I was like, have you considered just like selling fine artwork? Not that that's like the above all, but you know, I feel like you could sell some of those. Oh wait, that's okay. So these are kind of similar ones to the animation portfolio here. Looks like maybe with a little bit.
I did have some same stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's nice to be able to use kind of a crossover, and then some that are more unique to just illustration, like these ones.
Yeah, because I was so surprised, but kind of weirded out how illustration was just like no cartoons. You gotta draw from life stuff.
Yeah.
Which wasn't weird, but it was kind of hard because I don't have a lot of life drawing stuff, so I had to do it like this year instead of like having stuff I already had.
Yeah. I also love that since you're you're in Bangkok right now, right? In Thailand?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're seeing different objects than we would see here in Ontario. So that's just a really neat, that's a nice way to make uniqueness in your portfolio, but also just by the fact that that's where you're from and that's where you are. So these are, you know, I remember being in Tanzania in Africa, we would see these little tiny bananas that we actually don't get here at all.
So good.
Like we never get these bananas in the West, but
really?
Here they are. Yeah, we only get like the slightly longer ones, and then I'd say in the last like 10-15 years we've gotten some plantain bananas. But these little ones, I don't think they store good enough for a long period of time or something, so we don't see them in the West. So I was like, oh, it's those bananas. Nice. Oh yeah, I love this. I remember seeing this. This is your self-portrait in the backdrop. It has that. What was this style based on again, Pincha?
I actually had it was quite a while ago before I did my portfolio.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to improve on my classical stuff.
Yeah.
And I wanted to learn how to actually paint, kinda. I went to this teacher in like Thailand, And then he would start telling me to buy canvases. This is like 50 times 40 centimeters, I think.
Wow. Holy.
It's kind of big.
50 centimeters. Wow.
It's like A2, I think.
Okay.
Something.
Yeah.
It's in a style he told me to do it in a mosaic collage kind of way. It was like sharp stuff because I was still learning how to paint and I couldn't really blend, and it's acrylic.
Yeah.
You know.
Acrylic is tough to blend, yeah. Oh, that's so neat. Oh yeah, I remember seeing this one too.
Yeah. This was actually my AP art stuff that I redid in paper. It was originally in digital and I just redid it. Yeah.
Well, that's one method for sure. Oh yeah. Some figures, objects. Let's have a look at so the process. Oh, okay, so the process is just like some before, I guess, the drafts of all those. Yeah.
I don't recommend following my process. I didn't really plan it out, and the thing is, I confess, I did the process after I finished the pieces.
Yeah. Well, you can say that now that you got in. Who cares, right?
Yeah.
But it happens sometimes for sure. Oh, I love this one too. So here's your observational test. So I love the modeling of the sardines and the butter. It's just like, in the liquid. Oh, so good.
I actually did it in real life, and my room stank so bad because of the sardines and the butter. Like so I did it and then I took a picture so the stuff wouldn't smell and melt.
Yeah. But I'm guessing you didn't do this all in one sitting.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, that's a fantastic drawing. And then you're outside of your room sketch. That's great.
Yeah.
The indoor room drawing?
Yeah, that's my kitchen. But it doesn't actually have like the wallpaper and the floor and stuff.
Wow, you drew that wallpaper on?
Yeah, cause the guy again who taught me the classical stuff, I did go to him a lot for my illustration, like here and there, not a lot.
Yeah.
And I showed him my finished piece, and he said it was pretty. It was like he thought it was my best work, but he said it was too bland in a way, like the room just felt bare because the floor didn't have anything and the wallpaper didn't have anything. So he told me to maybe make it feel like a bit homier. I think he did make me go a bit over the top, but I like toned it down a bit. He actually wanted me to make like some patterns on the ceiling too, but I thought that was ridiculous, so I just didn't do it. It was like too much. It was so ugly.
After this, I'm sure you're like, I am never drawing a pattern by hand again.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's funny how long this takes traditionally, but how quick it is when you're working digitally.
Yeah.
Lots of pain here. And then your two figures. Wow. Great work, Pincha. Fantastic all around. I can't believe you're able to do all of this, honestly, for both portfolios. I mean, there's some crossover, but there's a lot that wasn't too. So that's just a tremendous amount of work and planning. And just how many times have you applied again?
Oh, last year I applied only for Sheridan animation.
Okay.
It was kind of dumb applying for only one school, but this year was worth it. So I just applied to around 3-4 schools. I did apply to OCAD too, but that's just because I was too scared, really scared I wouldn't get in anything.
I bet
and I forgot about it.
For everyone watching this, it's probably going to be shocking to see that you were scared about getting in despite everything that you've made here. Like some of this concept art here, like the personal work, feels like ready to be in an animated movie. So I think
I was so scared because I think in my first year I was a bit too confident, maybe a bit too cocky, and I was like, the score I was hit so bad, and I was like, oh my god, maybe I'm not the best all the time. And maybe I need to sit down and try a bit harder and maybe listen a bit more to criticism, and I think it worked out. Amazing.
Well, I look forward to knowing how the rest of your Gobelin process goes, and also just
Yeah.
what you end up choosing. Because, yeah, this is an incredible portfolio. I witnessed this for quite a while. We've been working together, I guess, since maybe even the summer, last summer, I
Yeah,
think.
because I did your world building class.
The world building class. Yeah, that was the first one. Okay, cool. Yeah, we've been working together for a while, and to see this whole portfolio kind of be created, I was just like, wow. Each week I was just shocked at your level of work and your level of consistency of producing work, which is so much of the battle, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, they're just great work. So yeah, congrats on behalf of Portprep. This is fantastic, and really look forward to knowing what you end up doing. Well, thanks so much, Pincha, for giving us your tips and yeah, this is really gonna help future students see what to think about for their portfolio. So I really appreciate you taking the time to kind of share that with us.
I um I was really happy. I felt it really meant a lot that you were like helping me on this stuff.
Oh,
And you did
great.
even like email me like on the last 2 days, even if I didn't pay for a session anymore. It was really nice. I was so nervous.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No,
Yeah.
I'm very happy to hear that. I was helpful. And I'm so
Yeah.
glad that the schools saw the value in you that I saw too. Because
Oh, thank
yeah,
God.
if that
Yeah.
wasn't the case, I was gonna march down to Sheridan and talk to some teachers.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's great.
Um, yeah, it was good that I started early and I
Yeah,
did found your course by accident and I was like, yeah, I need to do this right
great.
now, right
Awesome.
away.
I'm so glad to hear
And
that.
yeah, it was I don't know how to say it. It was really nice. Thank you so much
No
on
problem.
helping me
Oh,
in
I'm
the
so,
process.
so happy to know that I helped at all. That's so awesome.
It
Yeah.
helps a lot. I was actually every week I would like actually have to check if it was Wednesday and I was like, okay, I have to meet Garth. I have to do it at least this much stuff. I don't want to kind of like disappoint him with like the amount of work I come up with. So I would just
Wow.
like constantly
I don't know
draw.
that. Yeah, I do not think I was disappointed one time, but that's good to know.